It's another groovy day in Gotham City, but there is evil afoot when Commissioner Gordon gets a telephone call from a certain Prince of Puzzles.
Riddle me this, Commissioner. What are the top 10 episodes of Batman?
To determine the top 10 episodes of Batman, it will require intelligence, keen detective skills, and ingenuity. We better call Batman. In 1939, Batman began life as a comic book superhero created by Bob Kane. But then, in the groovy 1960s, the executives at ABC had the producer Bill Dozier turn Batman into a TV series. Bill Dozier, who had never read a comic book in his life, bought a dozen Batmans, read them, and thought the ABC executives were nuts. It was so juvenile. But then he had the idea that they should overdo it, so that it would be funny for adults and still be stimulating for kids. Lorenzo Semple wrote the pilot script and developed much of the show's visual style, and Adam West, whom the producers had seen in a Nestle Quick commercial, was cast as Batman. The show premiered on January 12th of 1966, and Batmania began. It was an immediate hit, and it launched a dance craze called the Batusi, tons of Batman toys, and even a Batman hairstyle. Holy yuck! In Hollywood, it became the in thing to play a villain on Batman. And if you couldn't be a villain, you could always pop out of the window when Batman and Robin were climbing up the wall of a building. For the first 2 seasons, the series aired 2 new episodes a week. Wednesday night would end in a cliffhanger, and the story would conclude on Thursday night. Yes, Commissioner, I'll fetch him for you. They did 120 episodes in 30 seasons, and here are the top 10 best ones.
Gee, Bruce, why are we doing a top 10 video anyways?
I'm surprised at you, Dick. Doing a top 10 allows us to appreciate the very best a television series has to offer.
Gosh, Bruce, you're right. So what is the number 10 episode?
King Tut's Coop, Batman's Waterloo. The professor of Egyptology at Yale University gets conked on the head. In holy amnesia, he becomes the criminal King Tut. And he wants to turn the lovely Lisa Carson into his Cleopatra. In general, the actors on Batman play their roles as if they were dramatic parts, and that's what makes it so funny. But Victor Buono as King Tut goes for all-out comedy. Because he goes against the whole principle of the show, this particular Pharaoh fellow isn't every fan's favorite. But to me, that only makes him more special, and I think he's more fun than a barrel of mummies. And the reason this episode is his best is simply because he gets to be at his goofiest. He overacts! He acts like a spoiled brat, and he even imitates W.C. Fields. Victor Buono got to ad-lib a lot, and his delivery can turn a mildly funny line into the most hysterical thing you've ever heard. In this one, you also get the added attraction of seeing him turn into King Tut. It's also implied that he swears at Batman. And I just love watching his evil laughter during the opening credits of the second episode. Along with his terrific Tut performance, this episode also features Lee Merriweather, who previously played Catwoman in the Batman movie. Here she plays Lisa Carson, the daughter of John E. Carson, which is a reference to the old host of The Tonight Show, Johnny Carson, and is a typical Batman name. She has great chemistry with both Victor Buono and Adam West, and her and Adam West's final scene is Batman writing at its finest.
All of us have alter egos that we submerge. Would you like to come in for a glass of milk and cookies?
I'm afraid it's rather late. Why, it's 10:30.
Don't they get a good night kiss?
A kiss, well, if you insist. Milk and cookies, did you say?
I made them myself.
Well, man cannot live by crime fighting alone. Milk and cookies, my foot. But if you're a kid, you can take it at face value. 10:30 is late, and how nice she made cookies. If you're an adult, you get the risque humor. And if you've seen the movie, you get the meta level of it's actually Catwoman. How perfect.
I don't pay enough attention to the two of you.
Oh, you do. You do.
You go right ahead, Harriet. You go enjoy yourself.
Number 9 episode is True or False Face, Holy Rat Race. Batman and Robin must stop that fiendish felon, Falseface, the criminal master of disguise. The first time you see this episode, it is unpredictable and unlike any other episode of Batman. Falseface can change his appearance into anyone, so you never know who's he going to impersonate next and how will that impact the plot. His girlfriend Blaze has the same ability, so it's actually double the trouble. The way they do it is they'll have one shot where he'll have one face, and they'll hide his face. And then in the next shot, he'll have another face, or it'll be another actor. Not quite, Chief O'Hara. Bigora, it's Falseface. In disguised person. It's a simple technique, but effective, and it happens so fast that it keeps the momentum going. Falseface also has a trick car that can change its appearance, so there's plenty of creative car chases. And if you're having car chases, of course, you get a lot of Batmobile. The Batmobile was based on the 1955 Lincoln Futura concept car, and George Barris added Bat features to it, along with some other groovy gadgets. And it absolutely is the grooviest and most famous car in television history. Christian Bale's might be more practical, but this looks way more fun to drive. Making these episodes even more unique, Malachi Throne asked for his credit to be removed. Some say it was because his real face was hidden and he didn't think he was able to give much of a performance, while others say it was because the actress who played Blaze got paid more than him and he was annoyed. Regardless, he was billed as question mark, leading audiences to speculate on which major star played Falseface. Could it be Peter Lawford? Could it be Sammy Davis Jr.? After a 3-martini lunch, I could see it.
Atomic batteries, the power, turbine, the speed!
Roger. The number 8 episode is Surf's Up, Joker's Ender. That clown prince of crime, the Joker, uses his surfing experience and ability transferometer and vigor reverser to become the world's greatest and grooviest surfer, so that he could take over Gotham City and later the world. This episode is from the 3rd season, which is generally considered the weakest of the series. They went from 2 episodes to only 1 episode a week. They added Batgirl, and while Yvonne Craig was great in the role, the writers had a hard time integrating her character. The budget was cut, the stories became smaller, and the writing became sillier. But in this episode, everything that's wrong with the 3rd season magically becomes right. The Joker's plan makes no sense. But Cesar Romero as the Joker is so excited, so goofy, and is just having so much fun that for that little half-hour episode, you just go with it. And that 3rd season silliness allows them to go all out with the surfing theme. The ultra-serious Commissioner Gordon and his dim-witted sidekick Chief O'Hara are disguised as beachcombers. There's a groovy green-haired band on the beach. There's plenty of girls in bathing suits, including Batgirl. The Joker has hot dog phones. They use surfer slang. And they have the Joker mispronounce Cowabunga as Cowabunga. And it all culminates when Batman and the Joker have a surfing contest. It's pop culture's greatest adversaries at their silliest. Complete with their swimming trunks over their costumes and thematically correct surfboards.
If I had my way, I'd always stay.
Cowabunga! Leaps a shark.
And lazy atmosphere that calms. My one favorite haunt is a palm tree, and all I want is someone just to rest in my arms. I'd love to live among the bamboo huts.
Even though a lot of it is rear screen projection, Adam West lived in Hawaii for a while and he knew how to surf. And Cesar Romero started his career as a dancer back in 1927. Holy, you're only as young as you feel. So he knew how to move his body. So both of them are physically able to sell it well. Combine that with groovy gadgets like the Batcopter, the Batmobile, the Jokermobile, and the shark repellent bat spray, and you have one cowabunga of an episode.
Let me help you with your top 10, Batman. As a former criminal, I'd be invaluable.
But Catwoman, what about Robin?
Robin? Oh, I've got it. We'll kill him.
The number 7 episode is Instant Freeze Rats Like Cheese. Prior to the events of this episode, Batman accidentally knocked a beaker of instant freeze on him. Forced to live in the 50 degrees below zero temperature, Mr. Freeze is back and out for revenge against Batman. Holy icicles! First of all, this episode has the coolest villain hideout. It's up in the snowy mountains, so it's hard to find. And Mr. Freeze has this remote control to make hot and cold areas of his hideout. And to visualize it, they use this optical effect. Now, Batman was one of the first color shows. They always make the most of it. And this is a coldly creative use of that color film. Along with having a cool hideout, this episode also has the most chilling plot. The Oscar-winning actor of old Hollywood, George Sanders, plays Mr. Freeze. Now, the director, Robert Butler, felt he made a mistake when directing George Sanders, and that he should have told him to ham it up more and be sillier. But I love George Sanders' performance. He plays it dramatically. He's cold and calculating, but you also feel sorry for him. Now, all the villains want to kill Batman. It's the thing to do. But because George Sanders is more believable, and because Batman caused him to become Mr. Freeze, so he has a deep-rooted reason for revenge, this episode takes on a level of threat that the other episodes don't have. The air is freezing your lungs, yeah? The cold, the frigid, frosty air. Now you know how I feel when the air is warm and I cannot breathe like you cannot now. You are freezing, yeah? If I want, I can make you freeze to death. But not yet. You must not die too easy. There, nice warm 76-degree temperature. Naturally, he doesn't know that I'm wearing my super thermal B-lung underwear. Mr. Freeze's freeze gun shoots fire and ice. It's implied that he kills 2 people, which almost never happens on the series. When Batman and Robin are shivering, it's actually kind of scary. And when they're frozen during the death trap, Batman and Robin can't get it out of themselves, and they actually need medical help, which is the only time that ever happens on the series. Batman the Animated Series is often credited as making Mr. Freeze a great villain, but this episode is its predecessor. By the way, in the comics his name was Dr. Zero, but the show changed it to Mr. Freeze, and the rest is frozen history. Bigara! The number... Carry the 3. The number 6 episode is Dishonor the Penguin, Dishonor the Penguin. That pompous, waddling master of foul play, the Penguin, decides to run for mayor. And because he's the only one who could beat him, Batman runs against him. These episodes originally aired during election week. And not only is it a great political satire, it is also the perfect Penguin plot. Like Family Guy with that Mayor Adam West, and The Simpsons, Batman made fun of everything. Conservative, liberal, it didn't matter. They made fun of government, prison reform, the police, and in this one, they make fun of politics. And it is the funniest episode of the series. Batman would obviously be a better mayor than the Penguin. But while Batman focuses on the issues and trusts the voters to do the right thing, the Penguin ignores the issues and puts all of his attention in creating a quack-tastic campaign. And the people fall for it. My friends, the Penguin Party stands for Mother. Country. A flag. And quack. It's such a pleasure to hear plain, honest talk from a candidate instead of the usual political mumbo-jumbo. He has huge posters. He kisses babies, while getting cigarette ashes on them, of course. His rallies have free champagne, a band, and even a belly dancer. By the way, look at the little penguin on her belly button. Is this not the best prop department in the world? And no matter what Batman does, the Penguin finds a way to show it in a bad light, and uses every dirty trick he knows, but as a politician, quack, now it's legal. And Burgess Meredith is so quacktastic as the Penguin, with his quack, his waddle, and his pomposity, and he finds ways to make even the smallest details hysterical and memorable. And this episode lets him go all out, and I just love his interactions with Adam West as Batman, who has utter disgust for him. By the way, Burgess Meredith came up with the signature quack sound because he had quit smoking about 20 years earlier, and the cigarette that was part of the Penguin character bothered his throat. So instead of coughing and ruining the take, he would go quack to clear his throat. Politics are as dirty as ever, so the satire still works, and Batman's pure belief that most politicians are honest and the voters will do the right thing is funnier now than it was in the 60s. Plus, this has become such a classic Penguin story that it's been reused in both the movie Batman Returns and the TV series Gotham. Keep watching and make America quack again! The number 5 episode is Pop Goes the Joker, Flop Goes the Joker. In a scene that would later be homaged in the 1989 Batman movie, the Joker breaks into an art gallery and sprays paint all over the art. But much to his surprise, he's increased their value. This is another Bat-tastic satire episode, and the joke is pop art. Pop art was a movement where artists were breaking away from traditional art and focusing on things in our popular culture and showing them in a new way. Andy Warhol was one of the most famous pop artists. In fact, the Batman character Baby Jane Towser was named after the Andy Warhol associate Baby Jane Holzer. This episode takes a conservative stance on pop art, and it pokes fun at what is now considered art, how it's made, the arbitrary way that artwork is priced, and the idea that no one really understands it, but because everyone wants to sound like an intellectual, they don't admit it. My painting is titled Death of a Move Bat. Where is the bat? The Bat Gentleman is dead. It died in 1936, a very bad year for bats.
Of course, the bat is dead. It's symbolic.
Symbolic of what?
The emptiness of modern life. What else?
Cesar Romero is at his funniest here, when he's prancing around teaching his art class, and when he gets angry at Bruce Wayne. And where Penguin and Batman are hilarious together, the Joker and Bruce Wayne are hilarious together. Because the Joker is crazy, and Bruce Wayne has this calm and condescending attitude towards the Joker. The reason this episode is slightly above the Penguin one is Batman is both for kids and adults. And as an adult, both episodes are genius. But as a kid, I found the Penguin one a little boring. But this one still has enough to appeal to kids. There are groovy fight scenes, a scary death trap, and the great Alan Napier's Alfred fencing with the Joker. And it has this wonderful ending where Alfred keeps sending the Joker up and down the bat poles, which feels like it's right out of a cartoon. By the way, do you notice something strange about the Joker? He has a mustache! In the 30s and 40s, Cesar Romero was known as a great Latin lover in movies, and his trademark was his mustache. And when they offered him the part of the Joker, he really wanted to play it, but in his own words, he couldn't shave the mustache that gave him his career. Hello, my cheery booze hounds! Batgirl was going to announce the number 4 episode, but she's all tied up at the moment. Well, that Barbara Gordon was enjoying her day off. I stole this book from the library, and it says the number 4 episode is Bookworm Turns, Gotham City Burns. The Bookworm plans to destroy Batman with a giant cookbook, Holy Reader's Digest, and then to steal the Batmobile so that he could use the Batmobile's Batbeam to break into the Morgan-built library. What I love about these episodes is that Batman has a darker edge, which is similar to the early comics. It opens with Commissioner Gordon getting shot and falling off a bridge. Later we find out it's just an imposter and a fake bullet, but still it's a startling opening for the episode. Also, there's a clock tower that's dedicated to the memory of Bruce Wayne's father. Now in this series, they hardly ever mention the death of Bruce Wayne's parents. So that little reminder and all it implies, combined with the opening, gives you that motivation for why Bruce Wayne is Batman. All the night scenes give it atmosphere, and there are moments, like when he's driving the Batmobile with a terrified Chief O'Hara, or when he's using his super memory skills, where Batman does seem a little crazy and a little scary. This episode also features the best villain that they ever created specifically for the TV show. The Bookworm is played by Rodney McDowall. Even though he was created to tie in with National Library Week, he hits all the marks of a great comic book character, because just like Batman and the Joker, he has both a dark side and a silly side. The Bookworm is a frustrated novelist, and because he can't write his own books, he uses plots from other books to create his crimes. He's mostly calm, but flies into fits of rage, and is also a super fast speed reader. So he has motivation and a dramatic weight to him, but the book theme also gives him an inherent goofiness that they're able to run with. His outfit appears to be made out of rare old book bindings. He uses book puns like, "Do you read me?" He has book gadgets, and in a great joke, his henchmen, who are also dressed in a bookish manner, have to remove their glasses before the fight scene. Into action! Your glasses! Remember, Robin, never hit a man with glasses. Glasses, men! Oh! Episode also features the very first window cameo done by the comedian Jerry Lewis, and it's such a creative way to bring in guest stars, and it's always fun to see who Batman and Robin are gonna run into. My personal favorite was Lurch. Even though Rodney McDowall said the outfit was like being in a sauna, it was so hot, he wanted to come back for more Bookworm episodes, and Bill Dozier wanted him back. But for whatever reason, probably because of Rodney McDowall's busy movie career, these are the only Bookworm episodes. Now for the number 3 episode, and it's delicious, absolutely delicious! The Zodiac crimes, the Joker's hard times, the Penguin declines! Come on, Pengy baby, we're on! The Joker, with some help from Pengy baby, commits a crime for each sign of the Zodiac. This was a special 3-part episode that they did for the show's 1-year anniversary, and it feels like a special event. It is so much fun to watch. The Joker commits 12 crimes here, including turning the Gotham City water supply into strawberry jelly. Blah! So it has an epic feel from the start. There are 2 villains instead of 1, and it's 2 of the most popular villains. And there's a lot of outdoor scenes, which make it feel more like a Batman movie. The kids watching, and the kids at heart, of course love the fight scenes. And this 3-parter has 4 real creative and distinctive ones, with the final one taking place in the Batcave, giving it an epic conclusion befitting a 3-parter. Kids also love the death traps. Usually there's only 1, but being a 3-parter, there's 2. Wednesday nights ended with Batman and Robin about to be crushed by a giant meteorite, which is pretty groovy. And Thursday ended with Robin being eaten by a giant clam. The kids didn't find out if he survived until the following Wednesday. You monster! Monster perhaps, but a successful monster. With you and Robin out of my way, and my Zodiac crimes completed, I shall have all of Gotham City under my control. And I'm a tender-hearted monster too, and couldn't possibly deprive that poor hungry clam of its dinner. That would be cruelty to animals, yes!
Very touching!
Oh boy wonder, what a succulent hors d'oeuvre you should make! Push yourself away, Robin!
I can't! Pinned against the sides! Batman, help! Batman, help! Batman!
Robin! 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 Are our eyes deceiving us? Has a giant clam really swallowed Robin, leaving Joker to confuse and confound Gotham City? Find out tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Most people who saw this as a kid remember it as being one of the scariest death traps. Not silly like it looks now. Along with the epicness, the other thing that makes these episodes so special is the teaming of the Joker and the Penguin. In the comics, the Joker and Penguin had been teaming up since 1944 with the Knights of Canavery, so the idea of them together on the show has a comic book feel to it. To me, this is Cesar Romero at his best. He's menacing, but he's also totally goofy, with his great laugh, his energy, and the wonderful way he walks. You could tell he was a dancer in every movement. This Joker is all about being a fun prankster, and two of his best moments are when he disguises himself as a Texan, and when he disguises himself as a policeman. You might think it's silly, but everyone but Batman falls for it. As for Burgess Meredith, Penguin is only in the first and third episode, but the Penguin was the star of the movie, so I like that this is more of a Joker vehicle. Plus, because he's not involved in the planning of crimes, Burgess basically gets to spend all of his time being funny, so he still shines. And the two of them are so great together, especially when they're bickering. The final thing that I love about this story is how action-packed it is. Normally, the villain will give Batman and Robin some clue, they'll try to figure it out, and then the criminal will commit a crime. But here, Batman and Robin already have their clues. He's going to do a crime for each Zodiac. So the Joker is constantly committing crimes, and Batman and Robin are constantly trying to stop him. Ultimately, the main reason that I watch the 60s Batman is to have fun, and I have the most fun when watching the Zodiac crimes.
The perfect number 2 episode is The Perfect Crime. Better luck next time.
We regret to inform you there has been a critical systems error on the Gemini 8, and we must interrupt the scheduled program.
Are you kidding me right, meow?
Indeed, when The Perfect Crime originally aired, it was interrupted with news of the Gemini 8, and tons of people called ABC, not to express concern about the astronauts, but to complain that Batman was interrupted. In this one, Catwoman steals 2 golden cats in order to find the lost treasure of Captain Minx. This is the first Catwoman story of the series, and it is perfectly done. They actually mentioned Catwoman earlier in the season, so we've been anticipating her arrival. The story opens at a night in the museum. We hear a cat purring. Then we see Catwoman's whip hit the guard. And then the cat jumps out. And then we see just her glove. And we hear that eerie Catwoman theme music. And it isn't until a couple scenes later when she's finally revealed. So they build up the suspense of seeing her. Now when she finally is revealed, it is the beautiful and sultry Julie Newmar in that skin-tight outfit that she designed and sewed herself. In later episodes, she plays Catwoman more silly, and Julie was one of the greatest female comedians of the 60s. She uses some of it here, but in this one, she plays Catwoman more evil, and there's this great sexual tension between her and Batman. Her hideout is like a maze, because she's the cat and Batman and Robin are like the mice. And she even dies at the end of the episode, with Batman remarking that cats have 9 lives, and she does eventually come back. Along with having Catwoman, this story also has a cat-tastic plot. There's a certain routine to Batman episodes, and this story follows it fairly closely, but it fleshes it out more. Almost every story has an opening scene at Wayne Manor, where Bruce and Dick are doing some type of really square activity. In this one, they're playing 3-dimensional chess. It allows for a great joke when Bruce says, "It's really quite rudimentary, Dick. All you have to do is think 14 moves ahead." But it also foreshadows the trickiness of Catwoman's maze and of her plot. Catwoman's plan is groovy, and you don't know what it's going to be right away. Her henchmen have personalities and are fleshed out. There's a great chase scene at the end with Batman chasing Catwoman through a cave. And she has a fabulous death trap for Batman and Robin, involving spikes, a bomb, and real tigers. You feline devil!
Tisk tisk and another tisk, Batman. Why don't you just admit that I'm smarter than you and let it go?
There's more than one way to skin a Catwoman.
In front of you are 2 doors. I'm standing behind one of them.
And the other?
Ah, there's the rub. Behind the other door is a ferocious Batman-eating tiger. If you pick the right door, I'm yours. If you pick the wrong door, you're mine. So which is it, Batman? The lady or the tiger? The lady or the tiger?
This is actually my favorite death trap because it's a real tiger fighting Batman, so it is scary and groovy. Burt Ward often mentions that they would use Adam West's stuntman a lot, but because the Robin costume was more revealing, Burt Ward would usually have to do his own stunts, while his stuntman was having coffee with Adam West. And in this one, Burt Ward was placed on a plank above a pit of tigers, and the crew hung meat above camera range to get the tigers to jump. I also love the humor in this one. In the first season, the comedy was more subtle. With Catwoman, there's some hanky-panky humor. There's Batman's obsession with civic responsibility to the absurd level. And there's even some dark humor. Even if you don't love the 60s Batman, you might still love this episode because it's so well done and so categorically clever.
Riddle me this, Batman. What has wings, can fly, and drinks coffee? Holy security checkpoint, Batman! The answer is a pilot!
You've done it, chum. The number 1 episode must be our pilot, High Diddle Riddle smack in the middle. The fiendish Riddler kidnaps Robin, tries to kill Batman, and tries to steal the figure of an elephant stuffed with priceless Moldavian postage stamps. Most shows take a little while to get going, but Batman kapowed right into it. And Batman is such an icon of a show, with its holy guacamole Batman, its pow and bang fight scenes, and of course the na-na-na-na-na-na-na Batman theme song, that you sometimes forget that someone had to create all of these things. But they did, and they created almost everything for that first episode. Right away, the show had a unique visual style, of a comic book literally coming to life. The humor of joking against the characters was there. The running joke of everything being labeled, Bill Dozier's overly dramatic narration, and even the Batusi was there in that very first episode. And so was the chemistry between Adam West and Burt Ward. Adam West was genius as Batman. He was able to go so ridiculous and even dance, but retained that dignity, honor, sincerity, and heart of gold of Batman. And Adam had this childlike approach of, I get to be Batman today, when he played it. Now, Burt Ward as Robin wasn't necessarily the world's greatest actor, but he was cast because in the producer's mind, he personally was what Robin would be. So they told him, just be you and be enthusiastic. And he's perfect and genuine as Robin. And the two of them clicked faster than even Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance. You feel it right away. And when Robin's kidnapped, you see how much Batman cares about him. The only thing that really indicates that this is a pilot is that they take a little more time to show you the ins and outs of this world, because this is your first time seeing it, and it creates this sense of awe. Later on, Commissioner Gordon will call Batman practically if he sees a jaywalker. But here, he asks several members of his police force, do you think you can handle the Riddler? When they all say no, then he calls Batman. So there's some anticipation for the reveal of the character. Also, Bruce Wayne talks about the murder of his parents by dastardly criminals, so we understand why he became Batman. They show off the Batmobile and some of its high-tech gadgets. It even shoots off fireworks. And they show off the Batcave with its atomic pile. I understand why they couldn't keep doing this every episode, but my gosh is it groovy here. But riddle me this. What's the final ingredient that makes this episode so special? Batman speaking.
This is a recording. Before you trip over your cape, Batman, riddle me this. There are 3 men in a boat with 4 cigarettes and no matches. How do they manage to smoke?
Riddler.
What the heck is he trying to tell us?
Let's go up and ask him. Hold it, Riddler! As a duly deputized agent of the law, I place you under arrest. What the?
Dude, delicious! I even gave you a tip-off! Holy ashtray, he did tip us off. They throw 1 cigarette overboard and make the boat a cigarette lighter.
Out-riddled! The Riddler had only appeared in a few comics, but Frank Gorshin made him one of the iconic Batman villains. Frank Gorshin was an impressionist, and he took inspiration from Richard Widmark's performance in Kiss of Death to help create the Riddler. He was wiry, manic, intense, and had this amazing crazed laugh, which was based on his own laugh at Hollywood parties when he found something really funny. So there's a genuineness to his laugh, and combine that with what he's laughing at, and there's a real menace to his performance. Even when he's saying riddles designed for 8-year-olds, you look into his eyes and he seems genuinely crazy, and you believe his whole passion and obsession in life is trying to outwit Batman. He actually got an Emmy nomination for his performance, and frankly, I think Frank Gorshin deserved to win. The riddles are good in this one too, and they actually make sense, and they give it a bit of an interactive quality. Once the show got going, they were able to run with it. But the creativity and the talent that it took to get this pilot off the ground make this the #1 Batman episode.
Holy ice cream! Holy bananas! Holy Siskabomb on a stick! Holy hole in the wall! Holy cacholi! Holy moly! Holy...
Our work here is done, Robin. Let's leave, but inconspicuously through the window.
Holy CD player! Holy Monopoly!